He looked really good. He looked fresher than everybody else.
Yeah.
A little bounce in his step, which was good. But you know, it's not about how he feels today. It's how he feels after today's workload, right? So we'll see how he responds to you know, to the increased activity from today, and he'll make that decision tomorrow.
Coach, how big, of course, Rondo, his career and his history, everything that he's done for other teams and even the Lakers, but how big is he, whether it be the second unit, first unit, how much of a help can he be once he gets back in that lineup?
He'll be a huge help. He's a huge part of what we hope to be this year. You know, I've always wanted to coach him specifically, but you know, I've always asked for guys like him. You know, in regards to my point guards, guys that can, you know, really quarterback the action out there on the floor and be a coach on the floor. And you know, he's one of the best ever to do it. So you know, he's going to give us a big lift. You know, a dynamic that we missed a little bit the other night, and we're eager to get him back.
When you look at film, as I'm sure you have the last couple of days, what stands out about that defense after that first quarter?
Our defense?
Your defense.
You know, well, first of all, the second quarter, I felt like we, you know, we had 6 or 7 possessions where we guarded really well within our coverages, and they hit a tough shot. You know what I mean? And I think we got frustrated at that point and lost our focus some. And I think that carried over into the second half, and we can't allow that to happen. You know, and then the other area that we gotta make sure we get better is just with our transition and matching up. You know, and that's normal for a team that's fairly new to each other. You know, to have that chemistry early on. You know, being able to talk and match up. You know, as the other teams come in with a speed break against you. So you know, those were the things that sort of stuck out for me.
When Rondo does come back, how much thought have you put into him either starting and coming off the bench?
I think I've given it a lot of thought, and I think he'll be in the starting lineup a lot. You know, I think there's potentially 2 ways we can go with that position. You know, sometimes bringing Avery off the bench, sometimes bringing Rajon off the bench. You know, in terms of that position, and you know, a lot of it can be dictated by matchups and you know, the flow of our team and stuff like that. But you know, I definitely envision, you know, a lot of games where he'll be the starting point guard.
Is that the same for the center position, or has JaVale nailed that down for now?
Nope, that's fluid too. You know, for right now, it's JaVale, and you know, he's doing some things really well. But so is Dwight Howard. I mean, it's essentially a tie at that point in terms of the production we're getting from both of those guys. So. Again, matchups could dictate, you know, which guy is in that starting lineup or just the flow of our team.
Frank, was he able to go today doing the scrimmage with Rondo?
He went full speed.
Full speed, no issues, no
Once he got warmed up, you know, he didn't look impaired at all.
Frank, you're facing Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell tomorrow, and there's a lot of these Western teams with these really good scoring guard duos.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a big consideration when you consider what the starting lineup looks like, especially if you're going to start Avery and alongside Danny?
Yeah, every time we prepare for a team, you know, how what lineups they're bringing into our building or this matchup, you know, that will be a consideration in terms of who we start, and especially early on in this season while we're still learning about ourselves. We haven't locked into a full-time starting lineup, and you know, the matchups for that night's game, you know, will be a factor.
With LeBron handling the ball so much, I know he's done that for every team, but you guys have sort of a shooting guard in Avery starting in this lineup that you started the other night. Do you feel like that gives you some kind of advantage when defenses are kind of running back and trying to figure out how to cross-match and get their guys on different guys since LeBron's handling the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely does. You know, having 2 scoring wings alongside LeBron when he's handling, you know, definitely gives us a different dynamic and is a positive for us.
When you guys reviewed the film, was there anything specific to the fourth quarter execution that you learned that you want to get better at?
You know, we didn't execute a lot of things well in the fourth quarter. I think if there's one thing that stands out is, you know, when they started bringing soft help in the post. We didn't respond to that well enough in terms of our spacing. You know, there's simple counters, and if they're gonna sit in AD's lap with the shooters that we have out there, you know, we should be shooting open threes, and we didn't space appropriately. in those situations, and we've cleaned that up.
I know you mentioned that Kyle Kuzma, or that like some of the starters would be matchup dependent, but like where do you see Kyle Kuzma fitting into that conversation?
We'll see. I mean, he could also be a starter for us, or he could be, a six-man candidate. Once he gets into playing with these guys full time, and we see what kind of combinations look good together. We'll make that decision at that time. But it's Kyle's just the kind of player that he's going to be a major factor for us. A 30-plus minute a game type of guy, and whether that's starting or off the bench, it doesn't really matter. He's going to be a major player for us.
LeBron was just talking to us about the games last night and did one of those sequences. I know he's done this over the years where he kind of recalls a sequence of plays in a row. Wondering that memory that he has, in what ways do you encounter that in the film room or in practice, or what ways does that come up?
Obviously, you see him identify stuff as quickly as anybody. The recall pieces that, maybe stick out in my mind, we do a progression with our three-line warm-ups where, we go into the weave first, and then we'll go into 5 or 6 other fast break iterations, and I introduced that the first day, and I usually, just call out the action for the team throughout, throughout the season, not even like second, third practice. And before I could get the words out of my mouth, he's already going through the progressions of it after having seen it one time. So that was one situation where it's impressed me. But this is nothing new to LeBron James with his recall and and that type of thing. So it wasn't really a surprise. But that's the thing that sticks out to me.
You talked about how some of the reason that you guys weren't running as much pick and roll with LeBron and AD against the Clippers was just the way they were defending it. Are there still ways you guys can go about having LeBron and AD operating in tandem, even if it's not specifically pick and roll?
Of course. There's a lot of ways. We worked on some of those today. I'm not going to get into the variety of ways, but it's not just pick and roll. You saw pin down action versus Golden State where he's hitting AD on a pocket pass. They can feed each other in the post and cut off of that. There's get game, which is pass and cut type of action. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. We're continuing to grow that as part of our offense, and it'll be a work in progress early and hopefully fine-tuned as the season plays out.
How much of an emphasis is that, though? Just the idea we want to make sure those two guys are sort of in concert, no matter what we're doing.
We want to make sure the whole team's in concert more than anything. It's not just about having two-man action with those two guys. They're each going to be heavily involved in sharing the load offensively. But it's really our mission is to be a team first team. That plays through those guys, but that 5 guys are involved.